is going on, guys? It's John here for you. Let's see, how do I want to start this out? So basically this is my subscriber video, my 500 subscriber video, and it's also my 100th video that I've posted. Cannot believe that I've made it this far, guys. It's absolutely crazy. It's all due to you guys for helping me out and watching my videos and commenting on my videos and liking my videos. And I cannot appreciate it. I cannot say thank you enough, guys. It's been great. So anyway, what I'm going to do, because I know some of you guys are interested in it, is some of my subscribers, if you've been subscribed to me for a while, y'all know that I own a pretty good amount of equipment. And what we're going to do right now is go through, there's 3 areas of my house that I have equipment, that I keep some equipment in. One of them is this tool shed behind me. One of them is that garage. And the third one is that garage. Not a whole lot in there, but there's a couple. So we're going to go through each building and see what equipment I have. I'll give you the story behind it. If you're new to the channel, you can get to see what I'm working with. I don't use all this stuff all the time, and a lot of it is broken. Some of it's broken, but let's get into it, shall we? Alright guys, we're out here in the garage now. I'm trying to think. I think there's a couple pieces out here that I can't really get to, simply because they're very hard to get to. You can't see it, but back in here, under this plastic bag, there is a Coleman generator. And this Coleman generator back in here, it was purchased before I was even born, so it's at least 20 years old. And we only had to use it a couple times. It's literally just an emergency generator. It's got a Briggs, like 10 horsepower, flathead Briggs engine on it. And don't really use it a whole lot. Pull it out once in a while to run it, but it hasn't been running in a few years, so there it is. Second piece in the garage that I know of, we have a Poulan Pro or Wild Thing chainsaw up there, and it was my dad's. He bought it and never really used it. I think we used it once. I did have to put fuel lines in that one time because they dry rotted, but you guys have never seen it on a video. You probably won't see it on a video other than this one. I'm not going to get to it because obviously there's a couple boxes in the way because we're moving some stuff and had a yard sale the other day. But there's a Wild Thing chainsaw up there. Let's see, third thing in the garage. Ooh. We have a second generator, which I can kind of sort of get to. This is a Honda generator, EU2000. This is the one that was in my equipment of the day. If you guys want to go back to my channel and look through that playlist, you'll see it there. Great little generator, has no problems with it. I do use it a couple times for doing house calls for equipment, run an angle grinder or whatever off of it. Highly recommend a Honda generator. It's been absolutely fantastic for us. And let me see, I think there might be one more piece in here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Alright, I don't remember I had these. These are Black & Decker electric trimmers that I have never used. My dad had purchased these, or he purchased this one years ago, and then my aunt was moving and she gave us this one, and the batteries are completely shot and we never used them, but here they are. Under here you guys might recognize kind of the shape of this thing. This is actually a snowblower. Let me see if I can kind of get the cover up here. 24-inch 5 horsepower Craftsman. Has a Tecumseh engine on it. Our neighbor sold this to us when he moved. We got a pretty decent deal on it. Haven't really used it a whole lot. It's a good snowblower, does the job. Engine is it's an old Tecumseh, so it's a pretty good motor. It looks brand new, as you guys can see. So we do have a snowblower in here. Don't really use the snowblower a whole lot anymore because, as you guys can know if you've been subscribed to my channel for even a short amount of time, we have another piece of equipment that takes the place of this thing. That does just as good, if not better, in snow. So that's all that's in the garage. It's just a chainsaw, this thing, and the 2 generators. So we'll go back over to the garden shed now, and we'll see what's all in there. Alright guys, now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of it. So here's the shed, if you guys have not seen it before. Here's where I store some of my equipment. This is one of my pride and joys. This is a John Deere 14 SB. It's a 91 model. This mower actually belonged to my grandfather, and then when he was not cutting grass anymore, he hired a lawn service in, I think, I don't know, 94, 95, 96, I don't know, sometime in the 90s, late 90s. And my aunt got it. And then my aunt was going to throw it away because she had to use starting fluid to start it, which I don't really know if I like that, but she was having a bunch of issues with it, was going to buy something new, and she was going to throw this thing away, and she asked us if we wanted it, and of course, we definitely wanted it. I was probably in middle school when I got this thing. It really didn't need a whole lot of work. I did have to put a belt on it for the self-propel, and then I put a mulch kit on it. But my grandfather, when he bought this mower new back in the early 90s, he optioned it out with the oil filter kit, so that was already on there when he bought it. But I had to put the mulch kit on it, and I put some cables. I think I put a drive cable on it, and I know I put a self-propel bar, which, as you guys can see, I've used this mower so much I'm machining away the metal of the bar. But hey, you know, I use it. I use this thing hard. It's been replaced. You guys will see what has replaced it, so it's not, you know, being used commercially anymore or anything, but it's been a very good machine for me. Love the aluminum deck John Deeres. So this one, I inherited this one. As you guys can tell from a lot of my equipment, I do inherit a good amount of stuff from friends or family or people who just want to get rid of stuff. So that's this machine. Coming in here now, we have a second one. The second John Deere 14 SB. My dad purchased this when he did not live here. He lived somewhere else, and we brought it here. I've never lived anywhere different from my house, so that's why I've always known this machine. It's always been with me. So, when I was born and raised here. Anyway, this 14 SB, my dad purchased. This is the first mower I started to ever use that was a real mower. And it's identical to the silver handle one, except that this one has a black handle. This is a 95 model, I believe. The only issues we'd have with this is that we used to wash it out with a hose after every use, and the water got up into the clutch bearings and froze up the clutch pretty bad. So we did have to put a blade clutch on this thing. Other than that, it's not really used a whole lot. I start it up every now and then just to keep it running. This does not have the oil filter kit on it, as you guys can see. It's not used that much, so we really don't need to worry about putting one on there. But here's the second one, aluminum deck 14 SB, runs great. Both the original bags for both my mower and my dad's mower here. Let's see, third. Hopefully you guys can see it, hopefully the light's okay. This is a 1963 Toro Whirlwind push mower. This one was actually owned by my great-grandfather, and my dad used it when he was doing some lawn care stuff back in the 60s and 70s. And then my dad brought it here and used it as a bush hog when they moved into this property, cleaning it up, and it still runs great. No issues at all with it, except that it's just wore out. So it needs front tires, it needs an engine shroud because the plastic's all broken, it needs a dipstick because the plastic's broken. But I don't pull it out to run it very much, but it does still run. I do still use it occasionally. And it's a cool machine. Right now, it kind of doubles as our shelf. So we have the handlebar down, which it collapses real easy. And then we got some gas cans on there and got a spreader on there. But yeah, that's what this mower is. You guys will see this in an upcoming video. I don't know when, but you will see it. So that's pretty neat. We do like the old Toro. It's an old gal. We'll come back to the Deeres. Over here, I've got a Stihl. This is a pretty much brand new saw. This is an MS-261 Stihl chainsaw. I bought this guy new this summer, actually, because my other chainsaw that I was using, which let me see if I can get to it, which was a Husqvarna. Oh man, my Stihl is leaking. Alright, cool. Oh well. It is a Husqvarna. It's a 345 Husqvarna chainsaw with a 16-inch bar. I'm not going to open it all the way. I don't want to dump all that oil out, but that's down there. It needs bar and chain, and it needs some fuel line work done to it. And I've been having fuel line problems with that saw for a pretty good amount of time. So I just decided to bite the bullet, and I was making enough income this year I had a landscape job that really helped me be able to boost up equipment. So I was able to purchase this 261, and it's been great so far. I really haven't done a whole lot of heavy work to it, or with it, but no problems at all there. Let's see, this little guy here, this is one of the first little engines I ever worked on. It's out of a Weed Eater brand trimmer. We just kind of bolted it up, and I learned how to work on carburetors and stuff on it. It doesn't run anymore because the fuel line is junk and the pull handle is messed up, but it did run at one point, and it just kind of, I just used it to burn gas, basically. Okay, so now, moving on to the John Deere. This is a John Deere LX 173. This is a mixture of parts from both the first 173 that I purchased to start my business out and the second one. The first one I ended up selling because it was starting to have some engine issues and the hood was all jacked up, and I just didn't have space for a third lawn tractor. So I sold one and kept this one. I paid $300 for this one here because the guy thought the transmission was bad, and all that was wrong was the keyway was missing. If you guys want to go back to my LX173 revamp video, that was getting this guy running again. This has the Kohler with mothballs in it because we have a mouse problem. This is the Kohler CV15S engine. It runs and starts great, have absolutely no problems with that. We did put mothballs in it because this thing sits quite a bit, and I just didn't want any mice to get in my engine, which we have a mouse problem in this building. So I do have an hour meter installed on this thing, and since I had it, I put that on this summer, and I've only put about 7 hours on it this summer. So I really haven't used it at all because of a different piece of equipment you guys will see. So I got a 38 and a 48 inch deck for this thing. I got a front dethatcher, I got a snow blade, and I've got a bagger for it as well. So I got lots of attachments. So it's a good little machine. I keep it for a rainy day. It's also my backup mower. Let's see, over on the engine shelf, which I do keep just spare engines around, I really hope you guys can see this. I've got a Tecumseh generator engine, which runs flawlessly. I've got a spare Kohler CV15 out of a Craftsman, which runs also flawlessly, that I keep for the spare engine. And then I've got this little Briggs & Stratton over here, this is the first engine I've ever rebuilt, completely rebuilt. Still runs fine and everything. I've got a plan for this engine, it needs a little more work. And I've got a hoard of parts. So that's what all this stuff is. All of these engines here were given to me. This one here came on a Kohler, a Craftsman lawn tractor, and I took the engine off of it. And I kept the engine and I threw the rest of it away because I didn't have a need for it. And the deck was shot anyway. So, all given to me. These are all spares and just stuff that I've tinkered with over the days and collected from knowing the right people. Okay, here's my Husqvarna blower. We'll start with the two-stroke stuff now. Some more two-stroke stuff. This is a 350 BT Husqvarna blower. It's not as big and powerful as, say, like a BR600, but it does everything I need it to do. This was a Christmas gift years ago when I was just starting out. That's what I asked for Christmas, and that's what I got. So there it is, the 350 BT. Decent blower. Moving on to my Husqvarna trimmer. This is a 326 LS trimmer. It gets run hard. I mean, this thing gets run really hard, and it's given me no issues whatsoever. I'm not so much into Husqvarna anymore because the dealer support in my area is just not good at all anymore. But they still make a really good trimmer. I'm still very happy with this thing. It has gobs of power, and if I have to do a ditch, this is going to be the trimmer I grab right here. So the Husqvarna makes a good trimmer. My second trimmer is a Stihl, which I am trying to transition over to Stihl completely. A, because I work for a Stihl dealership, and B, because they just make good stuff. This is a KM94, same as the FS94 in its current configuration, because I have the trimmer head on it. But it's been a great trimmer. If I'm doing this regular yards, day in and day out, I will grab the Stihl before I grab the Husky, because the Stihl is just a little more refined than what the Husky is. But both great trimmers. This isn't a review video, just showing you guys what I have. Anyway, but yeah, the Stihl KM94 is great. I also have the pole saw attachment for it, which this thing right here is worth its weight in gold. I mean, it's wonderful. And I also have the hedge clipper attachment for it, and then I also have the aluminum extension to be able to get up to higher places. And I'll tell you guys what, that combi system, that's probably some of the best money I've spent on purchasing these combi system things because I got that one job that you guys may remember this past summer, that huge landscape job. And these tools here, they made the job go by so much easier, and that job helped me pay for them. So it was kind of a win-win situation. But yeah, that combi system thing, that is just some of the best money I've spent in a very long time. Moving on to the second lawn tractor in here, this is a John Deere LX255. This particular one my dad purchased brand new back in 1999, if you guys haven't heard that story before. My buddy over at Joe Mills' channel, he loves this thing. So he always drives this thing when he comes over. We always have lawnmower races or whatever. But this also has the Kohler CV15. I'm not going to open the hood because it also has mothballs in it. It's the exact same engine as what's in the LX173. It has a 42-inch mulching deck on it. It's not the Freedom mulching deck. It's the 42C with the mulch plug in it. It does a good job though. It has a hydrostatic unit, as you guys can see right here. But this is the one I learned how to drive on basically, and had to put textbooks in the seat for me to be able to hold the seat switch down to drive on it. So this thing probably has a decent amount of hours on it. I did break the front bumper off years ago, way before I started YouTube. I ran into a stump and broke the bumper, so there's that. And then I also, my uncle worked for Dodge and Chrysler, and he gave me some stickers, Dodge and Hemi stickers, and I decided to put them on here. So that's what I got that for. When he saw these things, he laughed quite a bit. He thought they were great. So that's the LX255. And it's been a great unit. No problems with it. We had to do a little bit of work to the deck. Because we had some water corrosion in there that when we were used to use water to clean them off after every use, we had some pulleys that started getting locked up. And I put a head gasket in it. Didn't need to put a head gasket in it, but I put a head gasket in it. Helped me kind of check the engine out. But that's this guy here. Great mower, no problems. Over almost 20 years of use and 0 issues. Down here, as you guys can see, under the chicken wire, we've got a little Troy-Bilt front tine tiller with a 2-stroke Tecumseh engine on it. We used to have a garden here that would require this little tiller. It does a decent job. I really don't run it a whole lot, other than just to run it to start it up and use it a little bit, but we don't really have a big use for it. Again, it's something my dad purchased that was well before I was alive. And I work on it occasionally, but there it is. It just kind of sits there. And then we also have an Agway, or Agrifab broadcast spreader, which I will be using some more this summer because I'm going to start doing some fertilization techniques and stuff in my yard. So that'll be cool, trying some of that out. Let's see if I missed anything. Ooh. This is a Walmart special, Electra-Lite Weed Eater, made by Weed Eater. This was the trimmer I started learning how to trim on because it was lightweight and it was also 20 bucks. So I never used this for my business, I just used it to learn how to start using a trimmer when I was little. And ever since I used this thing for about a season just around the house, I stopped using it and it's sat here ever since. So, part of the archive, I suppose. And we got hand tools and everything. But they're not equipment, so who cares about hand tools? Trying to think if there's anything else in this building. I showed you guys the engines. Showed you guys the John Deeres. I got 2 John Deeres in here. Or lawn tractors, and then I got 2 push mowers and the Toro. So that's what's in here. I have also some Ryobi attachments from other older trimmers that I used to have that I no longer have, that were Ryobi and Toro and all that kind of stuff that I don't use anymore because they don't fit onto the combi system. At least I don't think they do. Oh, here's an electric hedge clipper, Black & Decker, which I never use because I have that hedge clipper, but it's there. Something I didn't buy, something I was just kind of here. Yeah, guys, so that's what's in here. Let's move on to the other garage now, and we'll go from there. Alright, last but certainly not least is this building, where we keep the really good stuff. We will start out over here on this part of the this part of the garage. This is a John Deere 2BV blower. I found this sitting back at my dealership. It was sitting behind the warehouse with a whole bunch of old two-stroke stuff that I don't really know what it was doing. I went up and asked the service manager what it was, and basically what it turned out to be is that the customer brought it in to get worked on and didn't pay for the work and abandoned it. And I asked my service manager what he wanted to do with it, if I could buy it off of him, because that's what our dealership does. They kind of sell the stuff that's been abandoned. And he said basically, if you want the blower, you can take it, because it's of no use to us. So I picked this thing up for free from my dealership, and I use it to blow off equipment and whatnot. The only thing that I see wrong with it is that this little gasket down here in the fuel tank, it does leak fuel a little bit, which is why this part of the tank is so clean. Other than that, guys, it runs great. The only thing that I could find wrong with it, which is why it wasn't running right, was that the air filter was dirty. So I cut out a new air filter out of a piece of foam that I had, and runs like a champ. No work required, no money required. Cool little John Deere blower. I don't know if this was made by Homelite or if it was made by Echo. It was one of the two. But so that's the John Deere blower. Next up, we have a really old and needing tremendous amount of work Tecumseh engine. This is obviously off of some kind of Craftsman lawn tractor from back in the day, either the 60s or 70s. One of the service techs that I'm kind of buddies with him at my dealership, he gave this thing to me. He said, "Hey, you like working on old stuff, right?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He said, "I got this old Tecumseh." He said, "If you want it, you can have it." He said, "All it needs is carburetor." He said, "It's got good compression." You guys can see where the carburetor goes right here, and these nuts aren't seized, so that's a good thing. But carburetor goes on there, and then a whole bunch of linkage and whatnot. But there's no fuel tank, because it was obviously, the fuel tank would be on the tractor. It is a cast iron Tecumseh engine. You guys can see just how thick this is down here. And it weighs a lot, probably 75 pounds, 80 pounds this engine weighs. It used to have one of those starter generators with a belt that would run around this thing to start this thing. I wish I could put a pull start on it, but I don't really know what I'm going to do in order to figure out how to crank this thing over. I tried using an electric drill on the nut right here, but because this thing is so large and has so much compression, the electric drill that I had was no good and would not turn the engine over sufficiently. So it's a little project that I've got. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing with it. If I can clean it up, make it look real nice, it'd be great. But that's what that is. Back here I've got another flathead Briggs engine. This one has a bent crankshaft. I'm going to use the engine block for an upcoming project of mine in the future. I did take the recoil off of it because I had to give it to a buddy of mine because his recoil on his mower broke. So I just gave him the one off of this. But it's just a parts machine. I have the carburetor and gas tank off of it. And the only other part, accessory type part that's on this thing is the magneto right there. I'm going to use the engine block and the piston for our upcoming project, and the crankshaft's bent, so I'm going to put a different crankshaft on it. But that's what that little guy is there. There's those three. Here's the old pump off the pressure washer. It still works, this just leaks a little bit. Here's some old Ryobi attachments, brush cutters and whatnot that I will probably never use ever again. Oh man, I forgot I had that. There's a Homelite blower that somebody gave me, one of my customers. He wasn't sure how long it's been sitting. And he's like, "Hey, do you want this blower?" So I did some work for him, and he said, "If you can get it running, it's yours." So it's got a pretty decent tank of gas, and it runs great. Only thing I don't like about it is that when you're using it, the handle vibrates so much that your hand starts to go numb after a while. But it runs good. No problems there. Now that I've got the John Deere little handheld blower, I don't really use this thing at all. But there it is. Homelite little blower. I don't really know what model it is. Zip start, whatever that means. But yeah, it runs good. No problems there. And let's go to the other bay and see what's over there. Alright, now we're getting into some good stuff. So, you guys can see these tines down here. My dad purchased a landscape rake that was used, and he's restoring it currently. It's a little tweaked. Here's the frame for it. The frame is, I don't know if you guys can make it out in the video or not, but it's a little bit tweaked. So him and I are gonna have to get on this thing and see if we can bend it back. But we did buy a landscape rake for the back of the tractor. And we got some other attachments here. We got a hitch and another 3-point thingy and whatnot. So there's that. A little bit of a mess here right now, but we're just kind of getting through some things. So that's why it's a little messy. I'll come back to this. Over here, here's a front dethatcher for my 173, LX173, as well as the Snowblade. $300 for that mower, and as well as this attachment and that attachment all together. It was quite the steal. I was jumping for joy when I was able to get that thing. Here is a generator, a third generator. This one was I inherited. It was given to me. It's got a Tecumseh engine, just like the one you guys saw on the engine shelf back there, and just like the one on the go-kart, which we'll see here in a second. It's a 4200 watt, I think, Coleman PowerMate. Sucks gas like there's no tomorrow because it's just an old flathead Briggs, but it runs good. Haven't started this thing up in at least a year, maybe a year and a half, but there it is. Runs good. No intentions of getting rid of it. There's a boat propeller. I don't know why we have a boat propeller, but there it is. Moving on. Okay, you guys have never seen this thing before. This is my go-kart. But you all didn't know I had a go-kart. I bought this go-kart frame. You guys can see the red part there. I bought that off Craigslist for $50. And it had the frame, the wheels and tires, and the brake, band brake on it. And I had this Tecumseh engine, which is actually the same engine as what's on that generator. But instead of having 8 horsepower, this engine has 10 horsepower. And it's only one-wheel drive. So this tire used to be full tread, and it just burns rubber on this one tire here at any speed that you're going. It'll do about 35. So there's no fluids in the engine, which is why it's leaning over on its side right now. The engine's attached with 2x4s, because that's safe. And, yeah, so this is the go-kart. I am going to pull this thing out at some point and run it and drive it and have fun with it and then take it apart because it needs welding done to the frame and everything. So you guys will see that here at some point. Don't really know when, but you will. So that's the go-kart. No brand. I call it a Tecumseh go-kart because it has a Tecumseh engine on it. Bypass the governor. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, so that's the go-kart there. There's a new wheel for our tractor because we need to replace one of the wheels. And some suitcase weights. And a set of pallet forks for the tractor. And a ballast box for the tractor. And a hitch that we use solely for the tractor. And that hitch thing that we have. And here is my sketchy hedge clipper. That this one leaks a little bit of fuel, which is why there's a rag under it. But it was given to me, one of my customers, again, which is, as you guys can see a theme here, I get a lot of stuff from my customers. They just figure that I repair stuff, and they just give me equipment because they feel like it, which I'm great. Please continue to do so. Anyway, this is a Craftsman. It's got a 2-stroke engine on it of no specific brand. And the reason why I really don't like this thing is because it vibrates like crazy. And the bar, as you guys can see, is a bit floppy. So because of that, it's terrifying to use. When you get it up to speed, the bar starts doing one of these numbers. And I just don't feel safe using it. I'm just probably going to toss it because I don't really feel safe with anybody else using it. So, there's that. We have a rear blade here, 3-point for the tractor. A lot of the tractor stuff belongs to my dad because I can't afford it. And I do a lot of the work on the tractor for him. So, and since I kind of have a business, I kind of am able to use it. So I pay for a lot of the maintenance things, and he pays for a lot of the implements and whatnot. So it's kind of a trade-off that him and I do. And he's happy with his part of the deal, and I'm happy with my part of the deal. I found this particular blade on Craigslist for like $150, $200, something like that. And it was a whole lot cheaper than buying one brand new, and the thing even looks brand new. So, you know, why not? Because we can definitely use it. So that's a lot of the implements and attachments we have for our tractor. This here is, this has been my moneymaker this year. This is my John Deere Z920M zero turn with the Michelin wheels. I've got, I think, a little over 40 hours on it that I've put so far on it this season. That's just this year alone. I bought this thing new in May. I am making payments once a month to my dealership on this thing. I did have to finance it because I couldn't afford it brand new. I do have a GoPro mount on this thing because GoPro is life. And it's got a Kawasaki engine. You guys want to see more on this mower, go check out those videos. I'm sure y'all have seen it by now. It's been a great piece of equipment for me. Haven't had any issues with it. I did a couple modifications. I put, this beacon light on here. I put a chute blocker on here. And I am going to be putting a suspension seat kit on here because I do spend enough time on this thing. Having a suspension seat would be nice. So I'll be putting that on in the future. You guys will be able to see me put that seat kit, suspension seat kit on this mower in the near future. Yeah, so it's been a great machine. Have zero issues with it. Love the John Deere machines. I think the Z900 series, the John Deere has really done something good in the market. And if more people were willing to try these things out, they'd be pleasantly surprised. Alrighty, moving on to the big guy. This is our John Deere 3520. Once again, this is my dad's tractor. I do a lot of the work to it, and since I work at a John Deere dealership, I do know a fair amount about these tractors. It's got a 300CX loader on it, and we got a bunch of attachments for it. It's got a Yanmar 3-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine in it with a canopy top and 72-inch drive-over auto connect mower deck, which does great for big open fields, but if you're doing a lot of small intricate things, this is not the deck to use. Any of our other mowers are what you want to use for that. Let's see, anything else in particular about this? It's been a great tractor, haven't had any problems with it. It's got like 170 hours on it, or 160, I don't really remember. We haven't really put that many hours on it because we haven't really had a super big use for it. But we're not intending on ever getting rid of it, so low hours is always good. Got a set of wheel weights on here my dad put on. And we got the eye match on this thing that we bought off of we took off of our old tractor. We used to have a John Deere 2210. You guys can probably see that in some other videos if you want to. But we took the eye match off of that tractor and put it on here because it was very expensive to purchase this new. So, have that on here, have the rear SCV on here. But yeah, it's been great, no problems at all. My dad recently purchased a subsoiler. He's got a project that he's working on. As you guys can see, gathering equipment kind of runs in the family, so I have it just as bad as my dad has it, and him and I kind of go hand in hand with buying stuff. He bought this subsoiler for a project we're working on over next door. We're kind of ripping up a lot of the ground. I'm going to be putting a parking pad in there, and this tractor plays a key part in preparing the ground to be able to do all that, making that parking pad happen. So he bought a subsoiler to kind of break up some of the ground and be able to help to turn the dirt in. So that's that. That's the tractor. Guys, have any questions on the tractor, you can ask me here or whatever. This right here is John Deere JE75. This is the third aluminum deck mower that I have. Second one that actually belongs to me, but the third one that I have to play with. I put a new carburetor on this thing. I put some new wheels and tires on this thing. It is electric start, but it needs some starter work. So, this is what I use. This has replaced that 14SB that I have that I showed you guys that was my grandfather's. And I bought this mower as well as 5 other mowers for $100. It was not running. I did some work to it. It's been flawless. Haven't had any problems. It does have a hole in the deck, but I haven't seen any issues with mowing quality. So that is the JE75. I know a lot of you guys love this mower. I did put an oil filter kit on it and some other stuff to get it running good, new starter and whatnot, recoil that is. But yeah guys, it's been great. No issues at all with this thing. There's a big theme on my channel that I have a lot of John Deere equipment, as you guys can tell. The channel name's even JD Tractor. So I kind of like my John Deere stuff. And there's a reason for that is because I have so much of it and it's never given me any issues. You know, both my grandfathers have owned John Deere equipment, and my dad has owned John Deere equipment, and now I own John Deere equipment, and we're going off of 40 plus years of owning John Deere equipment and not having any real issues with this stuff. So everything's going to break, everything has problems, everything's not perfect. But overall, we've been super pleased. The dealer support in my area is exquisite, and yeah, so that's why we have a bunch of John Deere stuff, because we've had good luck with it. Here is our John Deere, I know, I just got off it, and here's another John Deere, 2500 GH pressure washer. Only thing John Deere on this thing is the frame and the paint. It has a Honda engine on it, which Honda doesn't get much better in the business. especially for pressure washer type applications. It's a GC160 Honda engine. And that pump you guys saw was the original pump off of this thing. I ended up replacing the pump with this cat pump that I bought offline. And, I mean, a Honda engine with a cat pump, it really doesn't get much better than that. So this thing here has been absolutely flawless so far. I don't have a whole lot of hours on this cat pump yet, but the few that I do, it's been great, no problems with it. Let's see, we have a Midbuster plow for our tractor that we've used a couple times, but not nearly enough to scratch any paint off of it yet. Once again, this thing will probably do a really good job with that project that we're working on next door. What else? I think that's everything over here. We got some oils and fuels and stuff. We got it pretty set up good in here. If you guys never seen this building before, it's kind of our shop where we do a lot of the work on equipment. When I do work on the zero turn and work on the tractor, I will pull some of the other equipment out and then work on it in here. My Chrysler has also been in here before we had this tractor, but that car's been in here. We've been working on that before. So it's pretty nice to be able to move all this stuff out and have a really nice big bay and a bunch of tools and everything here. Ooh, the Hondaman. I forgot. This is a Frankenstein mower. Oh, I forgot I had that chainsaw. Alright, we'll get to that too. Let me go ahead and reset the video real quick, and we'll go ahead and move on to the Hondaman. Alright guys, so this is the Hondaman. If you guys don't know why I call it the Hondaman, this is a Honda engine, GCV160, and a Craftsman mower deck that's not self-propelled. This is the mower deck that originally that little bent 3-horse Briggs you guys saw earlier in the video. That's the engine that originally came on this. Customer gave me the mower deck with the bent crankshaft, and another customer gave me this Honda engine on a mower with a broken transmission. And because the bolt patterns are the same, I took the Honda engine off of the one mower, and took the broken engine off of this particular mower, and I combined the good engine with the good deck, and I made a powerful Honda lawnmower with a lightweight Craftsman deck, and I can pick this thing up by myself, put it in the back of a pickup truck or whatever, or a trailer, and take it to a job, and it runs great. So all this stuff you're seeing right here are just parts that were given to me, and I have assembled, and they work great. So all this stuff was free to me. See if I can squeeze past this bicycle here. Here's another horde of mower parts. I got steering wheels and seats and engine parts and all kinds of stuff here. There's spider webs, which is nice. Alright. Wow, the spider webs over here are insane. So you don't really come over here very much. Alright, let's see. This is the frame for the landscape rake. 3-point frame. Down here I've got, hopefully you guys can see this, I've got a 38-inch deck which is currently set up for mulching, but I can also do bagging with it. I have a set of bagging blades and a bagger for it. It's for the 173. And then back in there I've got a 48-inch deck for the LX173 that I purchased the deck brand new, shipped to me offline. And that was my biggest mower until I got the zero turn. But yeah, so that's the two mower decks and stuff that I have for the LX173. See if I can cross back over here and not get attacked by spider webs again. Oh, that little chainsaw. Like I said, guys, there is stuff here that I forget that I own, and it just kind of disappears until I start cleaning up and I find it again, or I do something like this. Here's another story. It was given to me by a customer. Sound familiar? This is a pull-in chainsaw. Little top handle unit. Customer didn't want to repair it. I offered to take it from him, and I decided to keep it because I thought it was kind of cool. So there it is. Little pull-in chainsaw. Does not run, needs carburetor work. May work on it in the future, I don't really know. Got a nice little box though. I'm trying to think. I believe that's everything. I believe that's all my equipment. So The heaviest things I use the heaviest, obviously the zero turn and the tractor we use the most, and the lawn tractors get used a fair amount. The 173 doesn't get used nearly as much as it used to, and the 255 is only used around the house. So there you go. I try to keep everything running. I try to keep everything going well. As you guys can see, the majority of my stuff does run. There's actually some lawnmowers that I forgot about, and my dump trailer. I gotta show you guys that. We'll come on out here. There's that 14SB. Here's my dump trailer, y'all. 14-foot Brymar dump trailer. It's been real good to me. It's got the stake body on it, and dual axle. And if you want to see this thing in action, I know there's a couple videos of me using it. So there's the dump trailer. What else? There's a couple lawnmowers that I've still got left from that original post that I did of how many lawnmowers I bought. I did manage to sell 2 of them yesterday, so those are actually gone out of here. Here's the woods. But here's one that's left. John Deere JS46 with a bent crankshaft and the tiniest oil filter in the world. This is basically a bush hog right now until we're able to purchase a real bush hog for the tractor. Because this thing has a bent crankshaft and really doesn't matter, I just use it to chop down whatever. And last, and probably least, oh, I got some trailers. I'll show you the trailers. Anyway, but this is a John Deere JS26, also with a bent crankshaft. Got a 5-horse Briggs on it, flathead. I might take some parts off of the engine, but that's going to be probably it. No blade or anything on it. Again, this was part of the $100 lawnmower deal. If you want to see all those mowers, y'all can go check out that video. You know where it is. I'm not going to do anything fancy and link it for you because that would be too much work. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Anyway, those are those 2 mowers. And last but certainly not least, because this thing has made me a good amount of money, towing it behind lawn tractors and stuff. This is my carry-on trailer that I purchased from Lowe's for like $300 or $400. And it is street legal. It does have lights and everything on it. I did have to replace one of these lights. I think it was this light right here. I had to replace that, and we wired it up, and because it got broke somehow. But this is what I use to pull behind the mowers. It really doesn't weigh hardly anything, and I put my lawnmower and trimmers and whatnot in there, and that's what that is for. And then that project I was talking about, just kind of tack this on to the end. You guys can see what I'm backing up in. This is some land that we purchased from my neighbor. It goes out to, I think, some of them trees over there, over, and then down and over. You guys can see that I have the Ford truck, which I'm trying to sell. I got that parked here, as well as the Aluma trailer, which I use for towing my zero turn around town. But we're going to be tearing up all this turf and then subsoiling it, and using the landscape rake to then turn all that in. And my dad kind of knows more of what he's doing there because he's talked to some people and he has a better idea. I don't really know too much about it currently. But we had a bunch of trees removed and stumps ground, which is what all the wood chips are, and then we're going to be dragging all this with the tractor and putting gravel down and spreading that out with the tractor, and then parking trailers and vehicles over here so we kind of free up the driveway a little bit more. My Brymar trailer will be going over here eventually. So yeah, guys, that is all of my equipment. If you've seen anything that you want to know more about, or you want to see another video on it, or anything, you know, please let me know. Oh, like I said, guys, there's so much I just forget. This is a cart that we got from my neighbor, same one we got the snowblower from, and it's a Craftsman cart. He just gave it to us. We didn't pay nothing for it. My dad and I, that is. And this is the bagger I purchased with that 173 for my 38-inch deck. So bagger does work good. I keep this part outside, but I keep the bags and everything inside. I don't want to get too deteriorated. But plastic and metal, I'm not too concerned about staying outside. But anyway, guys, that's all the equipment that I personally own. Some of it's mine, some of it's my dad's. He can run all my equipment, I can run all his equipment. We got a kind of agreement going on, so it works out pretty good, because, you know, everything that we have we use. I hate having stuff and not using it. Everything that I own has a need for it, or I'm trying to collect it to sell it. That's the other part of my little business that I kind of do, is flipping equipment, which is kind of a reason I have so much. But, you know, like I said, I sold 2 mowers yesterday and made a pretty good little, made some good spending money. So that's that. Like I said, everything I own has a use. Most of it runs, and I try to keep it running. I try to keep it in good shape. So definitely keeps me busy. Like I said, if y'all have any questions on any of the equipment that you've seen in this video, please feel free to leave me a comment. I'll do the best I can to answer it. And once again, guys, just thank you so much for 500 subscribers. Thank you so much for watching my videos. You know, if you guys didn't watch them, I wouldn't be at 100 right now. And I hope you guys hang in there with me. We got some awesome content coming down the channel, like always. And give you guys a big thumbs up. Make sure you give me a big thumbs up in this video if you liked all my equipment. And I will see y'all in the future.